Hey everyone, I thought I'd better hurry and take this opportunity to make my movie this week because it is crazy here. I have, for those of you who don't know, I'm a midwife in addition of everything else I do. So this month I actually have 4 women due, and which is because I'm in grad school, not taking very many, but for some reason this month I ended up with 5. So I have 4 left, and I ended up yesterday and today mostly at a birth or in the process of being at a birth. So my video did not get up yesterday. So I'm going to make it right now because I don't know when the next chance I will have to make it, today or tomorrow or the rest of the week. So anyway, the topic this week is dealing with depression and ways to get out of a funk. I think it's normal that everybody every once in a while gets into kind of a depressive funk, and we all have circumstantial depression in our lives that comes up. But with eating disorders, mood disorders tend to be very high, especially anxiety and depression, and anxiety and actually can be part of a depression. That's why now it's termed more as anxiety and depression, not just depression or anxiety, because a lot of times they go hand in hand. So how can you get out of these funks when you're in them? Because when you're right in the middle of a depressive cycle, you tend to awfulize things, think in extremes, have irrational thoughts, and generally, you just don't feel good because it doesn't feel good to be depressed, and it can take a lot of different forms. So you might have a hard time getting up in the morning. You might have a hard time just being motivated to do anything. You might not care about things you normally care about. So what can you do to pull out of these things? Now, first of all, I think it's a myth that there's one cure-all for depression, okay? So some people say, well, yeah, exercise is the best way to cure depression. Well, the problem is, number one, if you have an eating disorder, exercise can be an issue with eating disorder. And for people with chronic depression, exercise doesn't cure it. It may improve it, it may help it. I struggle with mood issues myself, and I know that regular, reasonable exercise for people who are healthy enough to exercise, and if that is something that you are in a healthy enough state to do, if you have an eating disorder, it's always a good idea to work with a treatment team if that's an issue for you, especially, and also just depending on your state of physical health, exercise can be a touchy subject, but it's also, I believe, can be reincorporated into a healthy lifestyle, but I think it should be done under the supervision of a specialized eating disorder team. So like a doctor, dietitian, therapist, to check your mindset, make sure that you are not physically harming yourself, make sure your nutritional needs are being met, and there are some specialized issues that sometimes come up with even people who are recovered or doing really well in recovery with exercise. So you have to kind of be careful with that one with eating disorders, but it definitely can be something. Physical activity, movement is something that does help your body because you have those natural endorphins that are released. However, for people with mild depression or circumstantial depression, this may be enough to manage it. With people with moderate to severe depression, this is often not enough to cure it. And so, this is where a lot of times people get frustrated because there's a lot of advertisements or a lot of people who are out there saying, yeah, if you're depressed, exercise is just as effective as antidepressants or medications, and medications are evil. A lot of times, like, I hear a lot of these things when you start hearing it, and you've had those issues yourself, and you're like, well, I'm exercising, what's my problem? What's wrong with me? If I have to take medication, then there must be something wrong with me. Well, there's got to be a balance in things. So, what I think is you have to look at the benefits and cost of medication, or benefits versus the cost of being on medication, because yes, there are side effects, but for a lot of people with severe chronic depression, there are also significant benefits. And right now, I think there seems to be a trend, at least in the social work field, to kind of, I guess, it has a negative view towards antidepressants, because I think what's happened is we tried to over medicalize depression. I mean, as far as when we first came out with antidepressants, like in the 50s, it was thought that, oh yeah, this is going to cure depression, and it's all biological, and it's going to cure everything. Of course, so we've learned since then, there's a big argument of nature versus nurture. And since then, I think we've kind of come together and realized, hey, there are some biological pieces of this, and there's some environmental pieces. So what can we control? Well, the fact is we can't really control our biology. We can definitely do things to help where we are susceptible, but it doesn't guarantee that it's going to cure everything. So eating well, having a well-balanced diet is one of the major things that you can do to help your mood regulation. Believe it or not, because when you have a balanced diet, you think better, you feel better, and you regulate your moods better. When you are not eating well, or when you are restricting or binging and purging or eating an unbalanced diet, then that's going to affect your moods. Sleep is a big factor to get out of a funk, especially. Make sure that you get yourself on a schedule and keep to that schedule as much as you can. That doesn't mean that you need to get rigid about it and beat yourself up if you can't be perfect on it. But sleep is sleep regulation and mood regulation, those go really hand in hand. And when that sleep's out of balance, then your mood's it's going to be harder to get out of that funk. So a well-balanced diet, moderate exercise if it's appropriate for you, and enough sleep at night. That's going to be individually vary. It could be anywhere between 6 to 10 hours, depending on your body, what is appropriate for you. But a good sleep routine is really important, and actually, your body, the biorhythms of your body do a lot better if you're actually getting to bed you can kind of train your body actually to you can kind of feel your biorhythm when you naturally start to get tired to go bed at night if you're able to. So I know not everybody can, because people have jobs and different things in their lives, but if you're able to adjust your schedule so that you start to notice when a natural time is that your body wants to go to sleep, and then you just go to bed, you'll actually sleep better than if you stay up for a few more hours and then your body's not in its biorhythm and you won't sleep as well. Or if you force your body to sleep more than it needs to. So so getting into a good sleep pattern, and then getting onto a routine where sometimes you have to learn to not react to your depression all the time, or react to your moods all the time. So you may feel bad, but if you're able to have a schedule and say, okay, even though I feel bad, even though I feel like I can't get out of bed, I'm physically capable of lifting my head out of bed, of lifting my feet on the floor, even though it's difficult. And if you need friends to help you, if you need an alarm clock to help you across the room, whatever you need, get yourself into a committed routine and stick to it as much as possible, because that's going to really help you when you're in the funk. It may not prevent the funks from happening, but if you get out of your routine during the funk, it's going to prolong the funk, and then it's more likely to lead to a self-destructive pattern. Whereas if you're in a routine and you can keep to that diet, sleep, activity, responsibilities in your life, school schedule, work schedule, whatever it is that it may be, if you can keep to some kind of a routine as much as possible, you will actually, you might do it on remote, but just being involved in those activities, engaging your brain, will really help you to get out of those bad cycles, just doing something as simple as that. So if it is a chronic problem, medication may be appropriate for you. That's something that to talk to your doctor or psychiatrist about. But those are the things that I would recommend to get yourself out of it. And then also, positive self-talk, positive reinforcement. So I'm getting into aware of what your self-talk is and starting to change any negative self-talk that you have about yourself will actually help quite a bit too, because you'll learn to regulate yourself better. You'll learn to counteract those distorted thoughts, and you won't stay there as long. So anyway, I've got to run. Have a good week.